Hello and welcome back to my channel, Cards by Melissa Minor. On my desk in front of me, I have Happy Mail from the Stamps of Life. I love getting my card kit club each month, and this month their theme is called Greetings Friend Collection. So I'm going to do a quick unboxing and then stay tuned because I'm going to make 4 cards today. Each month in the Stamps of Life Card Kit Club, you receive a large storage envelope, you get cardstock, envelopes, a paper pad, and Stephanie Bernard herself designs the paper pad. The paper pad also coordinates with the Stamp and Die Hard Club, which I do have a video that I will link down below where I made several cards using that set. Anyway, if you're interested in joining the Stamps of Life clubs, check down below in the description box where I do have an affiliate link. All right, let's get started. So you can see here, there's some cute chipboard flowers. You get this spool of ribbon, and then you get this word die here that says Greetings, Friend. And you always get this inspiration photo card with some samples that you can use for inspiration and ideas. Check out these gorgeous stickers. And then here's some more stickers with some word sentiments on them that'll be perfect for the inside of cards. And then you get this A1 mini scallop card die set. Now an A1 size card is 3.5 by 4 7/8. So that'll be fun to use. And then you get these little gem embellishments. You get 12 A2 size envelopes. You get this large storage envelope, and then you also receive 12 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Now their cardstock is a good, thick, heavyweight cardstock. So let's take a look at the colors that are in this kit. So you get some of this powdered sugar, that's their white. And then also here is their lemonade. And then you get guava, that's this real bright, beautiful pink. And then the lighter pink is bubblegum. And then you get a couple sheets of the grape. And then this lighter purple is pixie. And so that's the color collection. Beautiful. Now I'm going to flip through quickly on the paper pad. And like I said, Stephanie designs this paper pad and it coordinates perfectly with the Stamp and Die Hard Club. So if you're a member of the Stamp and Die Hard Club, you can take that out and you can use that to die cut some of the pieces that are in this paper pad. So here's a look at all of the beautiful papers that are in this pad. And they call it paper, but it's really cardstock because it is a super heavyweight paper. All right, let's go ahead and get started on our first card. So the first thing I like to do, or actually let's prep for our first card. The first thing that I like to do is I like to pull out the pieces that are for die cutting. And so when I'm flipping through this paper pad, there's 4 of them. And so I like to first pull out all of those, and I like to die cut all of the pieces so that I have those ready and prepared so when I can make my cards. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the die from, this is the floral wreath. And I'm pointing here to this flower, and that's the one, if you've watched my floral wreath video, I pointed out that I like to line the die up. It's easier, I think, when you find a flower and you match it up. You can match the die up with that one flower that you're pointing to. And if you'll notice, there's only one of these flowers that looks like this. So this flower is unique. So I picked that one out purposely because I find that it's easiest to pick out that flower and line up my die. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the inside and for the outside. Now a few of these I'm going to cut out the inside, and then a couple of these I'm going to go ahead and leave the inside whole so that I can stamp on the center. So off camera I will do some more die cutting, but I'm just going to go ahead and use some of my mint tape here, and then I'm going to run these through my die cut machine. Now you can also take a little Sharpie marker and just mark that spot where those match up to make it easier for you. So the next time that you get this die out, you don't have to look so hard. It's a little bit easier to find that spot. So I'm going to pull my washi tape off here. And here is my beautiful wreath. And there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? I love the flowers and all the colors that are in the kit this month. So I'm going to go ahead and cut another one. And then most of the floral images, now there are dies included to cut all of the little floral dies. I did decide to go ahead and do most of the die cutting for those smaller flowers. I did go ahead and fussy cut most of those, but there is a die if you'd like to take the time to match up all of those dies. All right, so for my first card here, I am going to use this. This is called the Sweater Background Dies, and I went ahead and used a piece of the guava cardstock, and then I'm bringing in this stamp set. This is called Wreath Words, and so this was an add-on, and so I'm going to go ahead and pick out my sentiment here, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment on my wreath. So I've cut my card base out of the bubblegum cardstock, and then I have this piece here out of the guava, and I'm bringing in my precision glue press here from Sweet Petunia. I will have that link down below in the description box. I now have an affiliate link directly with the manufacturer, so they are not sold out. They do have these in stock, and this is one of my favorite things that I own. I cannot imagine crafting without it any longer. All right, so I'm going to get this pressed down. And then another one of the, let's see, let me go ahead and get this stamped. Okay, I'm bringing in, off to the side, I'm doing a little stamping here. And I am stamping this with guava ink, and I am stamping the words Happy Birthday. And there we go. This card is coming together so quickly. So let me go ahead, and I'm using my salt cellar here and my stamp chamois, and I'm just going to go ahead and wipe my stamp off. There we go. Let me get this glued down. And I've got it all centered up. And then I'm gonna go ahead, and I used the bow and leaves die to cut out the bow. And then that little leaf, that is from the sunflower class, and I love the look of these leaves, just to bring in a little foliage to the wreaths. I just think it gives it a little something extra. And so I cut that out using some sage cardstock from my stash. And so I'm just going to tuck that here behind the bow, and I used my fingernail to just kind of give the bow a little dimension. I've kind of curled it in on the top and then along on the bottom. And there is our first card. Super simple, but it's so bright and cheery. Okay, moving on to our second card. This time I'm gonna go ahead, and I've stamped off camera the wreath, and then I've colored it in with my Spectrum Noir markers. And then here's where I'm showing you that this came from that Hello, I believe it's called Hello Sunflower class. And there's those little, I'm using that again. I just love the way those look. And then I'm also using my Flower, Vine, and Grid A2 card die set. So I did a little prep off camera, and I've added some silver glitter paper behind the sage green vine piece. And then in the back, I'm adding an A2 card front panel. So the card front panel is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so I'm going to glue that down to my card base. And then on top of there, I'm going to glue that sage and glitter over the top, and I'm going to get that centered. Okay, so I'm going to get that pressed down. Look how much that glitter it just brings out the wow, right? And then the next thing I'm going to do here is I need to stamp a sentiment. So thinking about what sentiment, I did also add a little bit of the bubblegum ink to the center. And I think for this one, I want to use the sentiment of sending hugs. I think that'll be perfect. I think that's a good sentiment to use even for, like, instead of sympathy, I can just say sending hugs, and I need to send a sympathy card. So I think that'll be perfect. And so I have that stamped down. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe that stamp off to clean it. There we go. Okay. Put that back on my carrier sheet. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue my wreath down to my card panel. And I'll get that all centered up. And I colored all of my flowers in the same color. I used the pale pink blend. What a tongue twister. And then I used the yellow marker to go in on those little bitty flowers. And then I've cut this little bow using the bow and leaves die. I've cut this out of bubble gum, and I did go ahead and add some ink around the edges. So I'm going to get this bow adhered down similar to the last card and add the little sage foliage here. I just love that look. I'm like stuck on it. If I could add the little bow and the foliage to every card I made this week, I think I have. And then using some of the dies that came in the Stamp and Die Hard kit or club set, the floral wreath set, I did cut a couple of them out with the bubblegum cardstock that came in the card kit club this month. And I just cut 3 of them out. And so, you know how when I'm scrapbooking, a lot of times I'll do things in a visual triangle or so in sets of 3. And so I'm doing the same thing here. I'm putting 3 on my card so it gives that visual triangle. And then I'm going to finish this off with some Nuvo glitter drops in the ivory seashell color. And so I'm going to do most of these off camera, but I wanted you to see just the texture and dimension that this gives, and it just gives that little finishing detail that I think the card needed. This is just such a simple card, but there it is. So this is our second card. All right, moving on to card number 3. This time I want to use the A1 mini scallop card die set that came in the kit, and I store a magnet in the back of mine, you know, with all the extra little pieces along with the card die. So I'm showing you here that I'm using this set. I'm bringing in that the little foliage again from this set. Just can't help myself. And then I'm also going to be bringing in this scalloped circle die, and then I don't show it here, but I'm also using a stitched square die. And so I've cut out a piece, a stitched rectangle here from the set that came in the kit this month, and then I had a little bit of I had my glitter paper out already from the other card, so I cut a little strip here, and I'm going to glue that here across the center. And then I'm going to glue this card front panel onto the card base. I've cut that card base using that bubblegum cardstock. And this is the pattern paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue this lemonade square to the card front panel. And then I've got one of those scalloped circles here, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment onto the circle. And the sentiment I'm going to use is, "Hello, my friend." Stephanie says it all the time. I love that sentiment, and so my scrappy girls and I, we always will start our conversations with, "Hello, my friend." So I love that card, and that'll be perfect to send to my scrappy friends. All right, so I'm stamping it here in the Stamps of Life Forever black ink. And let me lift it up. Oh my gosh. So I'm not happy with how this looks because my ink pad needs re-inking. And so not to fear here, I have the re-inker. And so here I just thought I would bring it in on camera and show you how I re-ink my ink pads. And so you don't just add a couple drops. You want to go over it multiple times. And so I've went over this 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then you'll turn your ink pad and you'll also go over it a couple times in the other direction. And then we'll let that soak in for a moment. And I am on a scratch piece of paper here just in case I didn't want to get ink everywhere. So I'm going to test it out. And yes, look at that. You could already see that is so much better. Okay, so I'm just going to flip this circle over and I'm going to reuse it. No one will ever know that I made this mistake, so let me restamp it again. And I have my Stamps of Life secret weapon underneath so that I get a good stamped impression. Let me hold it down and lift it up, and ta-da, perfect. I love the way this looks. So can you see the difference? So this is without the re-inker, and then here is with the re-inker. It makes a difference. And whenever you order the inks from a Stamps of Life, all of them always come with the re-inker. So I love that. So I'll have that color forever. Okay, so I also cut out one of these little, let's see, what do you call this? A barrel? I guess it's called a barrel. And I cut this out of the Ginger Snap cardstock. And I decided I'm gonna make like a little barrel of flowers. And so I'm going to use some of the little foliage that I've been using. So I popped this up on some adhesive foam, and I'm going to put some foliage in here. And I'm going to glue that down, and then I'm working out of a little tray here. And you see, before I got started, I just decided, before I decided what I was going to do for my cards, I just decided to start cutting things. So I started cutting out a whole bunch of the flowers. I cut out all of the wreaths, and that just helps me have a whole bunch of pieces to kind of play with so that when I'm ready to sit down and make a card, I have everything right at my fingertips and it just lets me create. So here I'm picking out all those little flowers that I fussy cut from the paper pad because they match the paper perfectly. So you can see I put 3 of them in the little barrel, and then I'm going to go in my visual triangle again. So I've got my barrel off to the right-hand side, and then moving over on my triangle then, I've got the little purple flower on the bottom left, and then up at the top, I'm going to add this little lemonade flower. And then I'm going to finish this card off with a little ribbon that came in the kit. And I'm just going to tie a little knot here. And so there we go. I love this card. I love that little barrel. Isn't that cute? So there is my next card. Okay, let's move on to my last card today. So I'm super excited about this card. I don't know about you, but on social media, I've been seeing a lot of fractured cards. And so today, for my last card, I'm going to be making one of those fractured cards for you. So I've taken a piece of paper from the paper pad. This says, "Greetings, friend," and I've cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have cut a 2 by 2 square from the bubblegum cardstock. And I'm just gonna glue that down to the center. And then you can see here, I've got a whole bunch of little strips of the grape cardstock. And these are just 1/4-inch strips. And I'm gonna add a little bit of glue. Okay, so I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna add it to the edge, or the top edge. And I'm just gonna put glue and glue it along the top. And then I'm gonna snip off the excess. Okay, that is step number 1. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come along on this right-hand side and I am going to box in that little square and add this little trim with my grape cardstock, and I'm gonna get that adhered down. And then once again, I'm gonna flip my card over and I'm gonna trim off the excess. Super cute. Okay, then I'm gonna take another piece of pattern paper from the cardstock. This was just a scrap I had. Oops, I got a little glue on my table. Getting excited. I'm so excited about this card. Okay, and then I'm just gonna glue this one down, just up in this little corner that I've created with my, my little strips here. So I'm gonna glue this down, and then I'm going to flip my card over once again, and I'm gonna cut off the excess. I'm also gonna glue this next strip down. I think I glue this strip down first, and then I cut off my excess. Okay, so I'm gonna frame in my square. Okay, so I've got my square framed in here. This is my next step. Now I'm gonna flip my card over. I'm gonna cut off my grape. There we go. I've got the grape cut off, and I'm gonna open up my card here so it's a little bit easier for me to trim. I'm gonna trim off the excess of this part here. Okay, and then I'm gonna flip my card back over, and I've got one more little piece of trim to put on. And when I go put this on, I'm noticing, oh no, that very first piece that I put on, I did not get it all the way to the edge of that bubblegum cardstock. But that's okay. I can fix this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my grape trim on here, and instead of gluing it like right up to the side of the bubblegum cardstock, I'm gonna kind of go on the bubblegum cardstock a little bit to match up to where I had the grape cardstock. See? Now you can't even tell that I didn't match that up perfectly. So it looks like it's all lined up. No mistakes in crafting, right? All right, so I have that. It's starting to look like one of those fractured cards. And now I'm going to glue in this piece of pattern paper. Now you could, instead, if you wanted to, you could make each of these pieces, each of these little fractured areas, you could make each one a different piece of paper from the pattern card, or, from the, oh my goodness, I'm getting all tongue twisted. You could make each one different using a different piece of paper. So it's just up to you and how you want your card to look. But I just wanted to show you, if you haven't made one of these before, how really easy it is to do. And this is the simple version, I think, by putting a piece on your card and then just adding the two along the edge. But look at that, isn't that cute? And then I'm gonna be using the Greetings Friend. This is the word die that came in the card kit this month. I'm kind of deciding here the placement of where I want everything. Do I want the little sticker in the center? And I decide that I want the word sentiment in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and get that glued down. And if you're wondering, I did go ahead and take the stick off of my sticker. I used some embossing powder, and I just put that on the back of my sticker to remove the stick so that I could move it around to kind of place it in different spots to see where I wanted it. But I know I want to use this sticker because it is so pretty. So now I'm just kind of deciding what else do I want to put on this card. So I'm bringing in my little tray of goodness here of all these beautiful flowers. I'm going to use my pickup tool poke that little center out. But use my pickup tool here to help me sort through these flowers, and I want to get a couple different colors. So I want to get one in the guava, and then I have another one in the lemonade. And then the other one that I want to put on here is then I'm going to put one in the sea glass along the bottom. So I have the placement of these on my card. And I'm going to add some glue and get these glued down. And again, I'm using that same concept here. I've got my visual triangle, and then I'm going to put this little flower at the bottom. So I'm going to get this one stuck down, and then I've got this lemonade one to pop on here. And then for my sticker, I know I want it at the bottom, so I'm going to put it down there, and I'm going to go ahead and for the centers of the flower, I'm going to bring back in those Nuvo drops, and I'm just going to color in the center of the Nuvo, or of the flowers, with those Nuvo drops. I just like the finishing touch that gives. And I did add some, I'm trying to decide here if I want to add a few leaves, so I kind of auditioned some leaves. I have all these leaves cut, but in the end I decide, no, I don't really want any leaves on here. I'll save those for another project. So the last thing I do here for this card is I do add a little foam tape because I want to add a little bit of dimension. So I put a little bit of foam tape on that gorgeous glittery sticker, and I place that along the bottom. So here is my last card. All right, if you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you're not a subscriber. If you would consider subscribing, I do post videos on my channel at least twice a week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.